एंड रिव्यूअर्स बी केयरफुल, ये बहुत बड़ा ट्रैप है जो लोग नहीं पकड़ पाते, एंड द बैड डिजाइन कीप्स ऑन पाइलिंग ओवर ईयर्स एंड ईयर्स, कोई ध्यान नहीं देता. आई एम अटैचिंग द लिंक टू दिस code in the coding decoded GitHub repo, so go through it once more after the video and have a look at it, how the manager classes have been implemented, extract the maximum out of it, try to understand the concept कि हाँ ऐसा करा गया है, ऐसे चल रहा है कोड, रन करके देखो तभी समझ आएगा खुद से, ऐसे नहीं आने वाली चीजें. Unless you will not try it yourself, नहीं क्लियर होने वाले कॉन्सेप्ट्स. गिव इट सम टाइम, हर एक चीज ध्यान से देखो कि ये क्लास ऐसे बनी हुई थी, ये क्लास ऐसे बनी हुई है, मैनेजर क्लासेस में ऐसे हैंडलिंग हुई है, एंड ट्राई टू गेट द मैक्सिमम आउट ऑफ इट. देन गो एंड अप्लाई दीज कॉन्सेप्ट्स इन योर डेली डेवलपमेंट एक्टिविटी. देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू मास्टर इट अप. Hello everyone, welcome to Coding Decoded. Today we are not going to solve any coding problem with you. Rather, this brings me to the third episode of S.åO.L.I.D principles, and to be specific, we will be talking about Liskov Substitution principle. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed the previous two episodes, S and O of S.åO.L.I.D. If you haven't seen them, link is in the description below. You can see it in the I icon as well, so do check it out. So without further ado, put your hands together for your host, Sanchit Dudeja, working at SDE-V at Adobe. And guys, do watch these videos till the very end, because industry से कोई भी SDE-V level पे ये सारी preachings नहीं बताएगा. YouTube पे बहुत सारी बातें होती हैं, but सारी सच नहीं होती. ये क्या बात करता है यार? So don't blindly believe in them. Now let's focus our attention onto the definition of Liskov Substitution principle. What does it say? And then we will check what does it mean, and then we will move on to the code, so actually understand कि concept है क्या चीज. हम पहले समझेंगे कि एक गलत concept कैसे लोग डिजाइन करते हैं, और फिर हम सोचेंगे कि इसका solution क्या है. So let's get started. Today's video is sponsored by Geekster. Geekster is an online platform that provides courses for full stack development and backend development with 100% job assurance. There are more than 1,500 students who have already enrolled themselves on their platform, 400 plus hiring partners, Airtel, PayPal, Skyrocket, to name a few. Their average package is 8.2 lakhs and the maximum went up till 33 lakhs. So what are you waiting for? Do give it a shot. The link is in the description below. They provide 7-day free trial classes with 100% money back guarantee. They provide full 365-degree strategy to crack your interview that not only includes interview preparation but soft skill training, referrals and live doubt sessions along with personal mentorship. So guys, एक बार चेकआउट जरूर करो, देखो तो सही कैसा है वहाँ के courses. Also, you can avail up to 5k discount on buying any course on this platform using the link mentioned below. So guys, do check this out. Full stack web development, advanced web development course. It operates on the concept of inheritance. It states that subtypes must be substitutable for their base types. In other words, it means subclass should be able to replace their parent classes without changing the correctness of the program. What does correctness of the program mean? It means the core algorithm. So if any subclass violates this contract, that means it doesn't adhere to Liskov Substitution principle, LSP. Going on, we will use this acronym in the code as well as further in the presentation. Also, please note that these are not compilation errors, rather these are design smells. तो जो लोग poorly design करते हैं algorithm को, LSP violations वहाँ catch नहीं हो पाते, and that is why reviewer के aspect से LSP is of utmost importance. So if there is a fresher coming up and he or she makes such a code that violates LSP, it is the responsibility of the reviewer. So from the developer's perspective and the reviewer's perspective, LSP is very important. If you wish to represent this LSP principle in a form of a class diagram on a very high level, it will be something like this. So we have a base class, we have an inherited class. The base class has 3 operations in it: perform action B, perform action C. And these 3 functions are inherited in the inherited class as well. So as per the Java OOPS concept, what we are gonna do? We'll initialize a new inherited class and assign it to a base class object, because these should be loosely coupled. And we should be able to perform base class dot perform action A, perform action B and perform action C without any violations. So violations होती ही क्या है, कैसे पता लगती है और ऐसा क्या behavior आता है कि violate ही हो जाता है code. To understand it fully, let's look at the code. Let's consider a hypothetical scenario where an MNC company hired employees. So as to represent the employee class appropriately, I have created an interface because as per Java, we should always program to an interface. And young लोगों को बस यही पता होता है कि program to an interface और वो कुछ भी बना देते हैं. तो इसका एक live example ये है. I have created an iEmployee interface and it has 3 methods in it. The first one is calculate bonus, कि bonus कितना आया employee का, get salary, salary कितनी आई, और get perks. And this will represent the list of perks, the different types of perks an employee can have. It could be car allowance, it could be LTA, or it could be PF. And now let's try and understand कि एक कंपनी के अंदर कितने टाइप के एम्प्लॉयज हो सकते हैं. So एम्प्लॉय की ट्रू आइडेंटिटी कैसे पता लगेगी? एम्प्लॉय की ट्रू आइडेंटिटी इसकी आईडी और इसके नेम से पता लगेगी. So what I have done here, I have created an abstract class that implements the iEmployee interface. It has 2 private members, one is ID and one is name. And this is a constructor for the employee and we have getter setters for ID and name. Now let's get back to the original question कि एक कंपनी में मल्टीपल टाइप्स के एम्प्लॉयज हो सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल देयर कुड बी परमानेंट एम्प्लॉयज, देयर कुड बी टेम्परेरी एम्प्लॉयज एंड देयर कुड बी कॉन्ट्रैक्ट एम्प्लॉयज. एंड फॉर ईच वन ऑफ देम देयर कुड बी डिफरेंट सेट ऑफ salary configurations, different set of perks, different set of PF rules. So let's focus our attention onto the permanent employees. The permanent employee class banane thi, what I have done as it simply extends the employee class. And when it extends the employee class, all the abstract methods should be overridden. That means all these 3 methods should be overridden in the inherited class. So let's check कि इनमें हमने override करा क्या है. So bonus calculation is 1.2 times the salary. Get salary is fixed. I have taken it to be 1 lakh rupees. And with respect to the list of perks, since it's a permanent employee, I have created a list of perks and this is basically a list of NMs and I added LTA, PF and car allowance into it and I have simply returned it over here. Now let's try and check the configuration for rest of the employees, the temporary one. So I have created a temporary employee class. It has a constructor which basically invokes the constructor of the employee class. In calculate bonus method, it is slightly lower than what the permanent employee gets. It's 0.9 into the salary value and the salary of a temporary employee happens to be 50,000. For a temporary employee, there is no car allowance. Therefore, it only has 2 perks in it, LTA and PF. We are done with understanding temporary employee. Now let's focus our attention onto the contract employee. अब contract employee बहुत interesting है. Why is it interesting? Because contractual लोगों को bonuses नहीं मिलते. तो बोनस नहीं मिलते तो एक नाइव डेवलपर ने सोचा कि क्या करूं. Since बोनस नहीं है, either he or she will go ahead and write null कि बोनस नहीं है और null आ जाएगा, या फिर unsupported operation exception. He or she उन्होंने पढ़ा कहीं से कि ये भी टाइप का एक रन टाइम एक्सेप्शन होता है and let's throw this exception out, which looks fairly fine. अगर आप बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल में नहीं देखोगे तो ये सही लगेगा आपको. However, this is not correct. Why I am saying this, you'll get to know in some time. Let's try and understand the later 2 helper methods. Get salary, it is 25,000 for a contract employee and perks happens to be nil for contractual employees. तो यहाँ पर उन्होंने null return कर दिया. तो बोनस में he or she has thrown unsupported operation exception and in perks he or she has thrown null because कुछ है ही नहीं. Now let's focus our attention onto the employee manager. तो ये हमने एक manager class create करा है wherein we have created 3 different types of employees. The first one is the permanent employee Sanchit. The second one is temporary employee Surbhi, and the third one is contractual employee Rahul. The ID for Sanchit is 1, the temporary employee is 2, and contractual employee is 3. तीनों का एक एक इंस्टेंस हमने ले लिया एंड वी एडेड इनटू एम्प्लॉय लिस्ट. And now let's further look at the methods that we have created as a manager. So the company wants to know कि total salary कितनी देनी पड़ेगी लोगों को. So here we have created a helper method, fetch total salary, which accepts the employee list and it returns the total salary as a sum of each employee. So we have created a total salary variable, we iterated over the employee list and we invoked get salary helper method. So this will return the total salary for each and every employee present in the company. So far so good. अभी तक कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Now comes the area of concern. Again we were interested in identifying कि total annual bonus कितना देना है employees को. So on similar lines we created another method which accepts a list of employees and it invokes calculate bonus method per employee and it add it into a total bonus variable and simply return it. So let's go ahead and invoke this. And so far we haven't looked at the line 24. We will talk about it later, but let me just comment this up. What do you get? You get unsupported operation exception, that is a runtime exception. And इससे प्रॉब्लम क्या है, मतलब ऐसा आया क्यों, पहले तो ये बताओ. तो ये इसलिए आया बिकॉज इन fetch total bonus budget method we invoked calculate bonus helper method of each employee, and in contractual employee we provided the definition of calculate bonus method where we said कि unsupported operation exception throw कर देना because contractual employees are not entitled for bonuses. Is it the right thing to do? You must be wondering इसमें गलत क्या है. Bonus was not supported for contractual employees and the developer wrote unsupported operation exception, which upfront makes sense. So होगा क्या, stage पे testing होगी, contractual employees के instances बनेंगे and QEs will report this as an issue. The developer will try to address this issue, and what is he gonna do? He will go to the employee manager class and he'll simply write the statement over here which will exclude all instances of contractual employees from calculate bonus method. Something like this. And when he will write this, so सब बढ़िया चलेगा, but a problem create हो गई system में because he and she has to specifically write contractual employee का instance नहीं होना चाहिए, then only calculate the bonus. So इससे ये समझ आ रहा है that employee manager class should be well aware of the internal implementation of objects being operated in this class. For example, contract employee. Contract employee calculate bonus method is not supported. This information should be well aware to the employee manager. And do you think is it the right thing to do? No, it's not. It's an absolute violation of OOPS concept. This instances of check are actual true violations. तो जहाँ पे भी आपको as a thumb rule instance of checks दिखे manager classes में, सोच लेना कि कोई ना कोई OOPS का concept violate हो रहा है. Let's try and look at the other example on very similar lines. So let's talk about print perks of each employee. It accepts the list of employees. It creates a new string stating all the perks of an employee. And we have iterated it over a loop that simply prints employee ID, name of that employee, and the perks that he or she has. So let's go ahead and run the main method. What do you see? You see that the total bonus was this value. Employee 1 with name Sanchit has perks as LTA, PF, car allowance. Employee 2 Surbhi has perks as LTA and PF. And then we have a null pointer exception. Why do we have a null pointer exception? Because in contractual employees, there are no perks. Here we returned null. So this information again has to be known to the manager class for this issue to be fixed. To fix this issue, we have to write if employee is an instance of contract employee, then we have to skip this. Again, the similar statement. So we will not print anything in those cases. So let's go ahead and submit this up. Another way to address the same issue would be something like this. Again, you can see that the manager class should be well aware of the internal implementation of the objects involved in the manager. So in case employee.perks it happens to be not equal to null, then only proceed ahead. So this statement will, this null check will also fix the issue. राइट तो आपको प्रॉब्लम समझ आया. प्रॉब्लम ये है कि मैनेजर क्लासेस को कभी भी अवेयरनेस नहीं होनी चाहिए इंटरनल इंप्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ एनी ऑब्जेक्ट्स दैट आर बीइंग ऑपरेटेड अपॉन, एंड दिस इज व्हाट LSP स्टेट्स. So let's go back to the presentation. Now comes the concern, how do we identify LSP violations in code as a reviewer? So whenever you see conditional logic using instanceOF operator or object.getClass.getName method to identify the actual subclass, याद कर देना कि bug है, वो design bug है वो system में, and make sure कि ये code कभी भी production पे ना जाए. Whenever you see empty implementation or do nothing implementation in one or more methods in the subclasses, it is very evident that it is nothing but LSP violations. Throwing unsupported operation exceptions or something unexpected exception from the subclass is another instance of LSP violation. So we have understood all three examples in our code. Now let's try and understand how are we gonna fix these issues. So LSP को fix कैसे करें? Stop the talking and show me the real code. So let's focus our attention onto the LSP compliant package, and this time I have segregated the methods that were exposed in IEmployee interface in LSP violated case, and I have created two interfaces. The first one represents the core methods an employee should have, which is get salary, and another one represents the special methods that an employee may get or may not get, and therefore the name is IEmployee special allowances. So the first method in this interface happens to be calculate bonus, and the second one happens to be get perks. So let's try and understand the employee class. Employee class implements IEmployee interface. It has two attributes, again ID and name, quite similar to what we observed in the LSP violated case. Now let's try and understand the implementation of the different types of employees that we have. And the first one is permanent employee. So it extends employee class, the abstract class, and it also implements IEmployee special allowance interface. So by virtue of these extension and implementation, we have to provide three methods that should be overridden. The first one is calculate bonus. So it is exactly the same that we saw in the LSP violated case. The salary value is again the same, and the get perks method is again the same. So we have ditto copy pasted the entire code from there. However, the configuration here changed. Let's try and understand the temporary employee case. So again, the three methods remain the same as we talked about in the violated case. However, the configuration here got changed. And now let's focus our attention onto the contractual employee case. Do we still need those null values to be returned from methods or unsupported exceptions to be returned from methods? No, we don't need, because it only extends the employee class. It doesn't implement anything. So managers should not be aware कि अब हो क्या रहा है. Now let's focus our attention onto the employee manager class and see कि वहाँ पर हमें कोई भी instance of checks और null checks लगाने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी. तो वो कैसे हमने कोड लिखा है. So here I've created the employee list that will actually store the different types of employees that I'm going to create. The first one is permanent employee Sanchit, second one is temporary employee Surbi, third one is contractual employee Rahul. Exactly the same as I did in the employee manager in violation case. I added these three instances of employees into my employee class, and now I'm ready to invoke fetch total salary helper method. Again, the same that we wrote in that particular instance. So let's go ahead and run this up. तो ये तो सही चल गया, because employee के अंदर हमारे पास we are implementing the IEmployee class, and IEmployee basically has get salary in it. It adds up the total salary of all these three employees and prints the result, which is in sync with our expectation. Now let's see कि हमने बाकी cases कैसे handle करे हैं. So let me just go ahead and uncomment this up. I have created another set of employees that has special allowances. And remember, the generic type here is I employ special allowance. I am only able to add the first two types of employees, permanent employee and temporary employee. If I attempt to add contractual employees as part of employee list with special allowances array, I get a compilation error. That the compiler will itself prevent me from adding over here, stating that it's a compilation error. So this is the USB of such a design, that you get to know about the issues upfront during compilation. So what we are going to do, since contractual employees are not supported to be part of this list, we'll be only adding permanent and temporary employees. So let's go ahead and run this method, fetch total bonus budget, and it's exactly the same as we did in the violation case. There's a slight difference. The generic type has been changed from employee to I employee with special allowances. And there are no instance of checks or null checks needed over here. So let's go ahead and run this. Total bonus value has been appropriately calculated, 1,65,000. And the third case is again the same. We are only able to invoke the print perks of each employees for employee list with special allowances. And remember, the same difference that we did in the bonus helper method is being replicated over here. Instead of the generic type employee, we'll have the generic type as I employ special allowances. So let's go ahead and run this method. This is exactly the same that we did in the violation case. So time to run all three methods up. And you yourself will see कि बिल्कुल डिट्टो रिजल्ट आए हैं जो हमने उस केस में किया था. तो थंब रूल क्या है? थंब रूल ये है कि स्प्लिट ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ ऑपरेशंस, मेक इट मोर ग्रैनुलर. द आइडिया टू इंट्रोड्यूस टू इंटरफेसेस इज द वे टू गो. स्पेशल थिंग्स के लिए स्पेशल अलाउंसेस एंड जनरल थिंग्स के लिए जनरल आई एम्प्लॉय इंटरफेस. And this is how we have prevented violation of LSP in our code. With this, let's wrap up today's session. I hope I'm able to convey the message of Liskov substitution principle appropriately. Guys, this is a really important concept if you want to master low-level system design. So कोई भी doubt हो, if you think even if it is silly, so don't hesitate from asking it. Telegram group of Coding Decoded is there where we have more than 2,000 developers working at all top notches. तो कोई ना कोई हेल्प कर ही देगा, और आप मेरे से भी डायरेक्टली पूछ सकते हो डीएम करके. आई विल बी मोर देन हैप्पी टू असिस्ट यू ओवर देयर. ऑल्सो आई एम अटैचिंग द लिंक टू दिस code in the Coding Decoded GitHub repo. So go through it once more after the video and have a look at it, how the manager classes have been implemented. Extract the maximum out of it. Try to understand the concept कि हाँ ऐसा करा गया, ऐसे चल रहा है कोड. रन करके देखो, तभी समझ आएगा खुद से. ऐसे नहीं आने वाली चीजें. Unless you will not try it yourself, नहीं क्लियर होने वाले कॉन्सेप्ट्स. गिव इट सम टाइम. हर एक चीज ध्यान से देखो कि ये क्लास ऐसे बनी हुई थी, ये क्लास ऐसे बनी हुई है, मैनेजर क्लासेस में ऐसे हैंडलिंग हुई है, एंड ट्राई टू गेट द मैक्सिमम आउट ऑफ इट. देन गो एंड अप्लाई दीज कॉन्सेप्ट्स इन योर डेली डेवलपमेंट एक्टिविटी. देन ओनली यू विल बी एबल टू मास्टर इट अप. एंड रिव्यूअर्स बी केयरफुल. ये बहुत बड़ा ट्रैप है जो लोग नहीं पकड़ पाते. एंड द बैड डिजाइन कीप्स ऑन पाइलिंग ओवर ईयर्स एंड ईयर्स. कोई ध्यान नहीं देता. It's our responsibility as seniors to take care of such things. With this, let's wrap up today's session. I hope you guys thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll see you very soon with another great video. But till then, goodbye, take care. Signing off, Sanchit Dudeja. Love and peace. Bye bye.